I got everything ready to go, so I'm just going to start it. So here goes. Oh, that's weird. Oh, no, we're good. Okay, video's recording, and now the beginning in 3, 2, 1.
I'm a nobody. You understand? And you can't kill a person with no body. So why am I afraid? I'm not afraid. I'm afraid of the boogeyman. Who's the boogeyman? You figure it out.
Assholes.
The Morning Stream. Would you like a closer look?
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to TMS. It's the Morning Stream for December 7th, 2023. I'm Scott Johnson with Brian Ibbett.
Good morning.
I was hesitant
The Boogeyman.
The Boogeyman. That guy's so weird. Well, you'll hear more from him later in our mid-section, but I found this audio of this guy getting interviewed up in Canada. Very odd man. Is that what we call it when we break? We call it our midsection? Let's call it that.
Our midsection. I like it. Yes. Playing in the midsection.
Why not?
Right, fair enough.
We're glad you're here. This is Thursday, which means we kind of end our normal broadcast week. Don't worry. Plenty of weekend content coming, but got a big show for you, including a couple of things I want to mention here. We've been busy getting Christmas cards out and gifts and things, trying to ship it all, get it early enough that everybody gets their stuff before the holiday.
Right before shipping basically grinds everything to a halt, and you say, well, enjoy your gift in May.
Yeah. And for at least the last 10 years, we have sent a card, sometimes other stuff, to Scott Fletcher's house because Scott Fletcher's part of the family, right? Big part of the Frog Pants family. And I just assume the stuff's always been getting there. I don't, call and verify that anybody got anything.
Who calls and says, hey, just want to make sure you got my card?
Yeah.
Nobody does that.
Nobody does that. So, and if you're brand new to the show and you're like, who's Scott Fletcher? He's the voice you heard in our intro today, and he does it every day.
Yeah.
So they reached out and just said, hey, you were talking about cards on Skim. Maybe it was here. I think it was Skim. And we miss seeing the Johnson cards. And we're like, wait a minute. We've been sending them every time.
Oh, no.
So we did a little backtracking. It turns out I had an old-ass address that they moved from like 10 years, like a decade ago.
Oh, no.
Right at about the same time we moved, actually, is when they did. And now, so all this time they've been getting, it's been going to some house that's unrelated to them, their old house. They're not forwarding whatever their mail and all that. So just a big public apology. Shitoutaluck.com, everybody. We screwed up. Yeah. And Fletcher's, as of this year, you will get a proper package.
Do you have a back catalog of cards? You're going to send them all the cards for the last decade?
I could go print them, I guess. I hadn't thought of that. That'd be funny, right? Give them.
That would be really funny.
Here are the 10 cards we owe you. Thank you for your
Consider
service.
The matter settled.
Yeah. So shout out to Scott and his lovely wife for their patience, Christine, I should say, and their kids and everybody over there in the Fletcher home. It was not on purpose. Okay, it was not on purpose. Yeah. All right, we have some mysteries to deal with.
Oh, good. I like a good mystery. All
right.
right.
You know that unexplained pile of spaghetti in the New Jersey forest we talked about?
I do, yes.
We kind of had some theories, and there was an article about it and all that. Well, Dave C. in Illinois wrote in and says Bud and Schlitz. That's the two beers there.
Beers, yep. I like that you almost called one of them what it tastes like.
Yeah.
What both of those taste like.
Bud and Shits.
Yeah.
It says, in the same vein as the unexplained pile of spaghetti in the forest, a few years back I was pumping gas into my car and I noticed this fully cooked and sliced pizza on the pavement near the pump. Another unsolved mystery. Love your show. It's Dave.
Yeah.
He sent a picture of this. Let me share it with
you. Really? Oh, yeah. Let me see the picture. Because my question is, was it in the box or was it just a loose pizza sliced and left on the pavement?
It was a loose, perfectly cut, but on the ground in its full circle, not all disheveled or goofed.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
Because if it was in a box, obviously it's like, all right, well, somebody put the box on top of their car while they were pumping gas. They forgot about it.
Yeah.
Closed their gas tank, closed the little door, got back in their car, drove off, and pizza fell on the ground. But
this almost has the look of like, hey, Walter White threw this on your roof levels of.
Look at that.
Yeah, see that? Isn't that great?
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Here,
it is
chat.
seriously just.
You guys can see it too. There
God,
you go.
and it is not a slice out of place.
Nope. It looks like it's been there a bit, right? It's a little crispy in a wrong way, like not cooked right.
Well, it looks like a Domino's pizza.
Yeah, that's true. This is exactly how Domino's brings it to you and leaves it on your floor, by the way. That's how they do it. Right. But what a weird thing to find in the middle of a gas station. It's very weird.
Yeah, it is. There is. It doesn't look like it's cut well, so that's what's keeping it together.
Mm-hmm.
I think it probably did fall out of something, or who knows what. But golly,
crazy.
It is crazy.
I love that though. Love it. So when you guys run into this sort of thing, this is the show to send them into. Okay.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We want your weird. It's like every time I go walking, you can tell I haven't walked with the dog in a while because it's cold because I have no stories.
Oh, yeah.
So
right. That's right. Usually you see some new graffiti on the wall, or a person walking down the street passes you and goes, Borgenschmitz.
Yeah,
and you're
Borgenschmitz.
Like, why the heck did he say Borgenschmitz?
Yeah, and then I got to come here and we got to talk about it and figure it out.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. Also got this about the Charlie Brown Christmas song thing we talked about yesterday.
Yeah. Cool.
Now that is still, there are arguments going on as to whether it should be celebrated as a Christmas song.
Hotly debated topic.
Yeah, I'm still unsure how I feel about it.
Linus and Lucy song, I still say not a Christmas song, just happens to be on a Christmas album.
I will say when I hear it, I have a feeling of kind of warm nostalgia toward it. But sure. And I associate that feeling or similar feelings to the holidays, but I'm not sure I can ascribe that song specifically to Christmas. If I heard it in the spring. But you wouldn't,
like if it came on during Shuffle in July, you wouldn't say, what? This song I only listen to at Christmas time.
Yeah, I'd never do that. Never do that. Like if I heard Winter Wonderland, which doesn't even mention Christmas, any other time of year, I would think Christmas because Winter Wonderland is so locked in. But this, it just isn't. It just sounds like I want to watch Charlie Brown cartoons. That's what that sounds like to me.
Right. No, Wicked Kitten, that is the song called Christmas Time Is Here that you're thinking of, and that is absolutely a Christmas song. The song we're talking about is the one that goes do 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 do.
Yeah, that whole thing.
Acapella style.
Yeah, let's do it. The whole thing.
Acapulco style.
When in Arrested Development, when George Michael Jr. Or when George Michael, the son, is
Michael
walking
Cera.
with his head hung low, and they play that. There's a Peanut song there, and that sounds like the Christmas one where it's like.
That's the one where it's.
So they using? Is that what they're doing? Is they're using the Christmas riff? They must be.
Yeah, they're using the Christmas riff because that one definitely is the Christmas riff. Brimerica just now getting caught up and saying, "Is Linus and Lucy?" Something like that is the name of it. Yep, yeah. Said that at the very beginning. Here's your red on air light.
Yeah, I don't think he was here for it though.
No, it's fine, Brimerica.
Yeah, we'll let this one go, Brimerica.
Yeah.
Your vision of America being Brimerica is still intact. Okay. Brandon says this about that Charlie Brown business. He says, hello, Bot and Scryan. I was listening to December 6th episode 2565, and I wanted to add my 2 cents, not adjusting for inflation. Sorry about the... He's got a joke every third word. About the Charlie Brown theme song sometimes being considered a Christmas song. It's probably that way because some people, like millennials on down, mostly only interact with Charlie Brown stuff during the holidays and thus attribute it for that reason. Ho, 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 the show, though, Brandon. And a little football. Yeah. He put a little football icon in there.
Little football. I think it's the one that Lucy yanked out of the way. And made,
of course.
Charlie fall on his back.
I wasn't even thinking. That
I don't know if that's really the case, but
maybe he's just a fan. Be. He's up there.
He might just like football, and that's fine too.
Nothing wrong with that. Oh, we should check in on how's your betting going for the NFL?
Oh, good. Let's see here. I've had a really good last 5 days. $24.35 up since yesterday.
Nice.
Yesterday was a big day, though. $82.13 up since the 5th. The last day I lost money was December 2nd. $30 down, but I made it up the next day with up $38.48 and then $44.14, up $11.91. There's all these fun little numbers like... it's never, $10, $15, $20, it's always like, I'm $82.13 up.
Everything's coming up pivot with your betting.
It is. It's doing really well. This is, this technique. It makes total sense because yesterday, the first set of my bets went through. So like the first set of bets were 10 bets. I won 4 and lost 6 of the 10 bets.
Right.
And if all things were even, I'd be in the hole. But because you're betting on above the odds bets, everything evened out. So basically, as long as you lose, if you lose 3 out of every 5 bets, then you'll come out even if you win 2 out of those 5 bets.
Oh, I got you.
Because they pay more, they pay enough to make up for the 3 you lose.
Right, makes sense. Yeah, well, that's great. Yeah. So there's not on the NFL side. You're getting close to the wire here, right? Because we're down to the playoffs and we're done.
Yeah, it's week 14 currently, and we've got just a couple more weeks of regular season. Then we've got the playoffs, but again, such a small percentage of my bets are, that's something I can actually look at. I can tell you of my bets, what the majority of my bets are made on, what sport, and how I do on them. Let's see. Profit by sport. Basketball. Profit on basketball has been $492.81. Basketball bets, way up there.
Wow.
Hockey, $124.32. Football has been my loss, $118.90 down with football bets.
Wow.
So football bets are way harder. Soccer, 56.35. So betting on like English Premier League and La Liga. MMA, $13.88 profit.
Nice.
Baseball, I must have snuck in a couple baseball bets before like the end of the World Series. I think I started this during the I guess started after the World Series, so I don't know where this came from. $36 down on those, but basketball close to 500 and hockey 125.
So it's all pro league. It's NBA, NHL,
college as well. This is college basketball.
Okay.
Yeah, the basketball, most of the basketball, no, I'd say the basketball bets are probably 50-50 college and NBA.
Okay. For some reason in my head, I always think that you can't bet on college ball, but that's just the players and the schools and stuff can't do it. But
so profit by league. So my biggest profits are, wow, it's really close. So of that 500 that I was telling you about for basketball, 250 of that is NBA, 242 of that is NCAA basketball. So it's
weird.
It's pretty close to 50-50.
But basketball bringing in the wins.
That's right, exactly.
That's great.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
Well, there you have it.
I'm still loving it, still making money, and I'm still having a blast doing it. And if you need, we've got a topic in the Discord about it. But if you have any questions, just DM me and I'll tell you the deal.
Yeah, reach out to Brian.
I figured out a really easy way to explain it all. So
right, his name in Discord, by the way, is Degenerate Gambler Brian Ibbett.
It totally is. Yes,
yeah.
I've moved on in the Discord from Brian Ibbett moviegoer to Brian Ibbett Degenerate Gambler.
That's right. It's your new moniker. Embrace it. All right. Well, thank you, Brandon, for that. This is one of my favorite things we've done in a while.
Okay, yeah.
I get this text from an anonymous person, a totally anonymous person.
I love this, yeah.
Who says, I wish Amy's, I'll just read the way they wrote it. I wish Amy's saucy book clip that we played yesterday, or Tuesday,
yeah.
About tits had been read in the screamy Mario voice you use on FilmSack. That voice is now a part of me. If that wild-ass voice was on medium settings, please have it maxed out. All right, so I did this person a favor.
Oh, no way, really? By the way, to clear it up for everybody listening, especially if you missed Tuesday's episode, the book that Amy was recommending, one of the 2 books that Amy was recommending, it was not about tits. It was about tits in the same way that the movie Die Hard is about packing tape.
Oh, man. Die Hard, secretly a packing tape film.
It's really a film about packing tape and limousines. That's what it's about.
I'd love that idea. That's great.
Yeah.
And Coke. You got to have a Coke. Bubby, give me a Coke.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Yes. So I'm going to play not her book clip in that voice.
Okay.
Because I couldn't find that.
Oh,
I mean, I could look harder and find it, but that's okay because instead I took their exact message to us and converted it into screaming Mario voice.
So this text will be read in the AI.
Yes.
What is that setting called that like can make it more out of control or less out of control? What
it
is it?
Says, what did it call it?
Intensity or
it's
stability?
Like that.
Stability.
Stability. That's it.
Stability. So more
settings.
Unstable.
Yeah, we have stability. 3 settings: stability, clarity, and similarity enhancement, and style exaggeration. I put them all in the red, just hoping for the best, and it did not disappoint. So,
fantastic!
Here's the clip. Here, 14 seconds. It's your exact text to us, only in the voice you love. Here you go.
I wish Amy's saucy book clip about tits had been read in the screamy Mario voice you used on Film Sack. That voice is now a part of me. If that wild-ass voice was on medium settings, please try it maxed out.
Okay, my favorite part is at the end, there's like a and then it quits. Listen.
Try it maxed out.
It sounds like me.
Yeah.
It sounds like me going,
It does sound like you a little bit. That's weird.
Which voice is that? Is that that's not the one that came from my Tina impersonation?
No, this is just that Mario voice that I use for
Mario. Oh, that's right. You said
Tech.
the Mario. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mario
Just that same voice. And it sometimes it screams. It matters what punctuation you use, right? So if I do exclamation points, it's going to do the big loud screamy thing.
You only live twice.
Like, watch. I'll show you. I'll do it in real time. Okay, multiple exclamation points on this thing. And I'll now generate it, and you guys will hear it in real time. So this will take a second. It takes longer when you exaggerate or do this.
Eat a pig's butt.
Oh, see, that sounded more like someone trying to do Homer. But it just depends. It depends on the mood this thing's in. Honestly, I can't really control it. If I hit generate again, it will try to redo it without any changes.
Eat a pig's butt.
It's just like, it's random every time. So anyway, I'm glad we just had an opportunity to do that. So thank you, dude who did not give us your name.
Right.
I wish you would have. Hey, Brian, how much was, or how did the sushi, not how much was it? How much sushi did you put in your belly yesterday?
Well, so yesterday was, we went to all-you-can-eat sushi at this place called Sushi Rama. It's a conveyor belt sushi place, and there are 2 different kinds of conveyor belt sushi places. Some of them, you place your order, and then I guess your food gets more delivered by bullet train than it does conveyor belt. Conveyor belt, I guess, is pretty much always the way. The chefs make a bunch of things, they put it out on a conveyor belt. The conveyor belt goes around the restaurant, usually around a bar, you know.
Sure.
And then you just take what you want, and then at the end you pay per plate for however many plates you eat.
Right.
And the things that I really like about Sushi Rama, number 1, every plate has a little plastic cloche over it, so nobody's coughing or sneezing or anything like that on the food. It does not. If that cloche gets removed, you pay for that plate. You better take that plate too.
All right. I've never heard of a cloche.
A cloche.
Yeah, you've
seen those, like when they smoke food, they put a little cloche over it.
Oh, like
a little glass bell.
Oh,
glass
that's
dome
what that's called?
something.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know
think
that.
that's called a cloche. Boy,
So when they come out, like one's all smoky and you open it, and it's like,
yes, and
okay,
the smoke wafts out of it. I believe. Oh God, I hope I'm not talking out of my ass as usual. I think that's called a cloche. Anyway, so they've got those, and then the base, the conveyor belt itself is metallic and refrigerated. So these plates, cold plates with the sushi on them, are going around, and they're not like getting warmer the longer it's been around.
Right.
Weston writes, as normal people say cover.
Oh,
cover to me is something totally different, Wes. We'll talk about that sometime.
Yeah, I found a bunch of them. They're called cloches on Amazon. Like,
yeah,
Brian's right. These are like these little presentation
it's
lids or whatever. Yeah. It's like, oh, look at my fancy thing I made under this.
Close enough for government work. Anyway, so I posted photos on threads of me and Tristan. Tristan and I and Tristan's girlfriend Kay all did the all you can eat. Tina says, nope, it would be wasted on me. I'm having ramen. So she had a bowl of ramen. And but Tristan and I, we wrecked their deal. Like basically we paid $50, and when I added up the stack of plates that I'd consumed, it was close to $70, $68.
Wow.
Of sushi that I ate. Each plate, by the way, so their plates are like 2 nigiri, like 2 tuna on rice, or 2 slices of a dragon roll or a California roll or a spider roll, etc.
Right.
So
there's the plates, everybody. I'm showing them that picture you sent me.
Yeah, so 18, you see a stack there of 18 plates, and the different colors are different values. The most expensive things come on blue plates, so I made sure, like, I didn't let a single, like if there was a row of blue plates, like of all octopus, I made sure I grabbed a blue plate. Like, number one, I like the stuff that's on there always, and I always feel bad when I'm not paying for all you can eat, that it's like, oh, I kind of do want another salmon, but I'm not going to do a salmon, Yeah. So, yeah.
Is that his own? Is that Tristan's own pile of plates next to him too?
It is. Yeah.
Oh my
so
gosh, you guys ate a lot of sushi. Jeez.
Yeah, we did. Oh yeah, exactly. We we made sure to get our money's worth. We added up his, and he was somewhere in like the high 50s, 50 to 60. You can barely see his.
Yeah, I can just see him peeking out the side there on the left. You can see the edges.
Yeah, but he polished off about 18 plates or so himself. Now, you see all those people behind us, or behind Tristan, right?
I was going to say, Trucker Hat seems to be checking you out while you're taking this photo.
Yeah, maybe. Well, the way that this conveyor belt goes, obviously one big continuous loop through the restaurant.
Yeah.
And they seated us at a 4-top table. They've got 3 4-top tables, and everything else is bar, shoulder-to-shoulder seating. And this conveyor belt winds its way, almost like the letter E through this restaurant, right? And so the top and bottom horizontal parts of the E are all individual seats, people sitting shoulder to shoulder around it. And then in the middle, you've got the 3 4-top tables, booths, and then on the other side of that, you've got more shoulder to shoulder seating. So 90% of it is shoulder to shoulder.
Okay, that makes sense.
And
you just reach out and grab, and
and you just take. And here's the thing: when they put you right by the kitchen, and the stuff that's coming out of the kitchen goes right by you first, and you take it, you kind of look at the faces of the people further downstream, who are like, oh, I kind of wanted that dragon roll, but
because
people took 3 of them, because there are 3 of them doing the all you can eat, so they all took a dragon roll. And it's like, you pay your money, you take your chances. We didn't ask to get seated there. We really got the best seat in the house, literally. But it's it really is the luck of the draw. And I've been on the other side of it. I've been in those seats where you're at the end of the loop, and you feel like the only things getting to you are California rolls and mango cucumber seaweed stuff.
Not the cream of the crop.
Yes, exactly.
Oh man.
And Claire, so there's the thing with the all you can eat. They do say everything on the conveyor belt only, but we noticed that a lot of people were saying, "Hey, can we get some?" They didn't have any eel. They had dragon roll on there, but they didn't have any regular eel nigiri. And so people were ordering some of that and just having them brought directly to their table. And I think they were calling that part of the all you can eat as well. But 90 minutes. We were only there. We seriously were there for 40 minutes, because you sit down and it's like a buffet. You immediately, once you're seated, you just start. You just go. They're not going to bring you anything else to let you start. It's like grab.
Yeah.
So
seat and eat, they call that.
Seat and eat, exactly. So people only really had 30 minutes of us taking all the good fish before the dregs missed it.
Sounds so good though. Ever since you mentioned it yesterday, I've been wanting sushi. I gotta get some.
I did take a video. Let me see if I can send it to you. I don't know how long it'll take to send though. But I positioned my phone right next to the conveyor belt. Tried to do it in a way that you wouldn't get the people sitting, the people's faces, but it was like kind of focused more on the conveyor belt itself.
Yeah.
But let me know when that comes through. It should come through in your iMessage.
Okay, I'm watching. Keep an eye open here.
It's a fun little video.
And is it? Oh, weird. I see dots, but it's still coming.
Okay, it's coming. Yeah.
Oh, there it is. It came through. Let me pull it down here, and let's pull it up and give it to the folks.
Oh yeah, turn the audio down. There's just.
Oh, it's just ramble.
It's just random. Yeah, there's just.
All right, here you go.
You hear Tristan talking about somebody getting hit in the head.
Yeah, that's always a good time. There it is.
Yeah.
All right, we're scrolling. Oh, look at this. Yeah, it's Oh, it just okay. All right. So wait, when they go by with a little card on it, what is that?
That's to tell you what's coming after that card. So you'll see a thing that says sake, which is salmon.
Yeah.
And then there'll be like 3 plates of salmon.
Oh, okay.
But in most cases, you see these empty plates. Like you see the thing with the card on it, but nothing after it, which means that somebody's already taken all of the things that were behind it.
Oh, I see. That's why they're all bungled up like this. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man, I gotta go. I gotta get me some.
Yeah.
Carter
place
found
is so much fun.
We found like a couple of them. She looked around and found a couple of.
Yeah, and the one that we found during the show has the bullet train delivery. So like you can say, all right, well we'll take the things that are on the conveyor belt, but boy, I really want this certain kind of roll, and then it comes on a separate track right to you.
It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right. Well, now that you're all hungry for sushi, now we'll do the news. All right. Because now we've made you hungry and there's nothing to do. What? Oh, Carter has an update. An update, yes.
Update, yes.
Sushi place that had the rotating sushi. Yeah, we gotta go. Oh, can we go? All right, we're going. I'm taking my Tristan-aged daughter to the rotating sushi place.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Let's see how well you guys can compete with the masters.
See if how the prices are. I assume it's still all you can eat, or you have an option to do that. I hope.
This was a special night. It was a charity night for a local thing called Urban Peak.
And you paid what, 50 you said?
$50
per person? Yeah. It's not too bad. Well, we'll have to look into it. Let's jump to the news and see what's going on in there. There's important information just waiting to be reported.
Must be related.
Really important stuff. Time for the news, brought to you by
Coverville. Yeah, it's happening today, and it's in honor of Shane MacGowan. It's going to be covers of and by the Pogues, so all of your favorites, and of course, that Christmas song that I'm going to be playing anyway. Covers of things like Neil Diamond's Cracklin' Rosie and Louis Armstrong's What a Wonderful World with Shane MacGowan and Nick Cave, of all people. Fairy Tale of New York, of course, but he also does a great cover of Little Drummer Boy, the David Bowie Bing Crosby version that's really, really good. Honky Tonk Women. And then, of course, all your favorites like Rainy Night in Soho, Tuesday Morning, Lullaby of London, The Sunny Side of the Street, and so much more. Today at noon, but Brian, you have your classes. I know, but the classes are getting recorded, so I'm going to watch them afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
So that'll be today. Terrible loss of a great Irish singer who had personality to spare, Shane MacGowan, today. Twitch.tv/Coverville.
He hung out with everybody. Like
he did.
Freaking, who was it? Oh, I saw some photos of Bruce Springsteen visiting him while he was sick.
Oh, really?
Went all the way to Ireland just to hang out and see him and talk to him one more time. Like,
golly.
Can you imagine having that level of, admiration? Such
a charismatic guy, but boy, he had his problems, unfortunately.
Had his vices.
His vices, yeah.
Let's get to this story about a Vietnamese man experiencing severe headaches for 5 months. Finally discovered what was wrong. Chopsticks in his brain.
Of course.
Oh, man. 35-year-old dude in Vietnam who experienced severe headaches for 5 months was shocked to discover a pair of chopsticks lodged in his skull. I have a feeling he knows how they got in there, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, how do you And how do you get both of them, right? Like,
yeah, something funky about it. But so they found it through a CT scan. They revealed tension pneumoencephalus, a very rare and potentially life-threatening condition caused by increased intracranial pressure. Doctors led by Dr. Noonian Van Man. That's great. Noonian Van Man. Oh, man, that's a great name. Found that the source of the tissue was a pair of chopsticks.
Win. I guess that's pronounced Win.
Is it Win? I never got it right.
Win. Yeah.
Chopsticks that had penetrated his nose and entered his brain. A trip down memory lane. The unnamed patient recalled getting involved in a fight 5 months earlier when he was drinking. Though his memory was hazy, he vaguely remembers being stabbed in the face, possibly with the chopsticks. Yeah, but if they went all the way up in there, this just seems.
It does. I mean, it's like. So basically, like, went up his nose into his brain.
Yeah, and then not know for 5 months.
And he went to the hospital, they said. Yeah. So
maybe it poked the part of the brain that remembers when your chopsticks got shoved in there.
That's right. It's just the irony of what happened there.
Yeah, it's very weird. Regardless, the patient suspected the utensils were lodged in his nose during a fight and had remained undiscovered in his skull. The condition currently is favorably. Fortunately, doctors successfully removed the chopsticks through endoscopy surgery and sealed a fistula in his brain. Nobody wants a fistula in your brain. I can tell you that. Patient is reported in stable condition awaiting discharge from the hospital. So he looks like he's going to be okay, but don't let that guy near any place that has chopsticks. Okay?
So here's a genuine question. I know if you end it with a Y, it's endoscopy, but I don't think it's endoscopic.
Endoscopic. That's not right.
That doesn't make sense. So I think
endoscopic.
Do you pronounce it endoscopic or endoscopic surgery?
I would say scopic, but I don't know if I'm right.
Endoscopic.
Oh, speaking of which, Mike Pachulik, wonderful member of the Tadpool, always sending us cool stuff.
Yes.
Sent me an endoscopy camera.
Oh, good.
Where is it? Here it is.
What, do you plug into your phone, basically?
Yeah, you plug it into your phone, although I'm trying to figure out a way to get it to work on my computer because I want to show people live and I can capture it.
You don't? Have you already done it? Because you don't. You want to watch that first and say, oh, my God, I never want to see this again.
Well, I never want to see. I'm not going to show any close-up parts of me, but like this premium saltine cracker, what does it look like when you're way up next to it with your little camera hole? And this thing, it's like one of those where Sam Fisher in what are those games called? Shit. Anyway, would slide these under doors to spy on people. It's one of those because you can see all around the room. Right. It's not just for close-ups. Isn't that cool though? I freaking love it.
That is really cool. Yeah.
Put that right here.
Yeah, it's like the one. Like the one I have, basically, where you can do the, like how we were using it to fish wires down through the walls.
Yeah.
I need to use it to figure out where the pipe vibration noise is coming from.
Oh yeah, that would work for that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, totally would work.
It doesn't have a.
We noticed it. It's really calmed down, and we don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing. It feels like, you know, electrical things and plumbing and stuff like that in the house doesn't ever heal itself. So it gets worse. But I'm wondering, am I, worried that there's some part of the basement that we're not thinking about where it's just filling up with water and we don't know.
That Auntie-antimum, or however you say it, the Wolverine metal in your house.
Oh, adamantium?
Yeah, it's healing. Nature is healing.
I see what you're saying. It was like, we don't have any adamantium in our basement.
That I'm aware of.
What are you talking about? Yes, right.
I hope that it's nothing, and then maybe it was just a shift. Sometimes houses have a little shift, and then they settle. Maybe it's that.
That's right. By the way, actually, Scott, the adamantium had nothing to do with Wolverine's healing properties. That was his mutant power.
That's right.
And it was what made it able for them to lace his bones with adamantium.
That's true. That is actually 100% true what you just said. I mean, it's a fictional character, but it's still true.
Yes, it's as true as things can get, at least until the retcon.
That's right. Or the reboot. Let's do a story about Liquid Death. You know, the canned water people?
I love that stuff.
Yeah, I like
Thanks
them
to
too.
you people talking me into trying it. I love it.
Yeah, it's very good. Liquid Death rebrands a drink, though, from Armless Palmer, they called it. It was basically an Arnie Palmer.
Right.
And they
iced tea and lemonade mix.
Exactly. I love those. To Dead Billionaire after golf legend estate threatens to sue. So the Arnold Palmer estate was going to sue him for using. I don't think they should do that. No one's associating this. We get it. It's fine.
Well, why? I mean, I think Dead Billionaire is funnier because armless Palmer, you're really just playing off the word Arnold, and it's not like Arnold Palmer didn't have arms. He was he was a golfer. He had 2 arms, and he played golf with those 2 arms, and he was very good at it. So armless never felt like as funny a joke as now Dead Billionaire is way funnier.
It is, but I don't know. Arnold Palmer wasn't a billionaire, so what are they referring to? Are they referring to just?
Isn't he? I would think.
Palmer? No way. Billions? Millionaire?
Let's see
sure.
here.
I can't imagine that.
I mean, how much money has he made just off of the tea and lemonade mix royalties alone? If you mix tea and lemonade, like you go to the fast food place and they've got the serve yourself, and you mix an Arnold Palmer, don't you pay royalties to the Arnold Palmer estate?
You probably do. Yeah, you're using his name. That's a good point. All the beverage money rolling in all the time. I don't know.
Yeah, $700 million. Is Arnold Palmer's net worth. So
pretty close to $1 billion.
Dead millionaire, but not dead billionaire.
Yeah. So I just don't, and they don't really get into why they called it
that.
No,
I take that back. At the time of his passing, Forbes estimated his inflation-adjusted career earnings total to be $1.3 billion.
Oh well, then I take it back.
That's adjusted for inflation, so that's a
sure. That's an extra $300,000 right there in inflation.
Yeah.
Wait. Yeah. Not $300,000. $300 million.
$300 million.
Yeah.
Arnold Palmer still earns $40 million annually, I guess because of the PGA Tour using his name or something, likeness or something like that.
$40 million.
Yeah.
Just for.
I don't understand. I'm not going through the article. I just looked at the headline, so it could be total bullshit.
His kids know what they're doing, man. They know how to squeeze every drop
a lot
of
it.
That lemon.
He also gets a lot of money through Arizona Tea, the Arizona drink company, because they have a line of beverages named after him, and they do have to pay the royalties.
Yeah,
to
and
his
those
estate.
have his face on them as well.
Yeah,
and
that's right. Yeah, so their likeness and everything. Yeah, they have to for that.
And
sure.
big signature on the side. It's got his signature on there.
Right. That's right. Yes.
They make a light version. It's not fully sugar free, but it's a lighter version. That's very good. Yeah.
And that's good, huh? All right.
Yeah, I recommend it. It's not bad. All right, here's an interesting one. The UK. Zoe, this is for you if you're in the chat there. The UK bans 2 Toyota advertisements, or as they call them over there, adverts, because that's what
adverts.
We either say ad or advertisements. They have decided to go right in the middle. And that's
right
fine.
in the middle. And you know what? That feels like it's a shortening that I can get behind.
I can also get behind it, although I cannot get behind these cars because they're not advertising them, so I won't know they exist.
So you can't get behind them.
Yeah. The reason they banned them, they say, is because they were promoting off-road driving. If this sounds weird, well, give us a sec. Ads for the Toyota Hilux SUV. I don't think the Helix or Hilux is available here. I think it's a...
Yeah, that's definitely a model that's not local.
And that happens a lot, right? Weird named stuff in other countries.
Weird makes and stuff. Like when we were in Ireland, we kept seeing a whole bunch of weird car symbols that were like, oh, well, there's a Honda or there's a Toyota, but then there's this weird, looks like a snake carrying a trident or something that we couldn't figure out.
Yeah. Off-brand foreign car makers. I kind of like it when I see those. I think
totally.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you forget that exists, right? Like there's...
For sure.
Not everything is Ford, Toyota, and whatever. Mm-hmm. Let's see. They banned these ads because the commercial showed the vehicles being driven over natural terrain. They say that encourages off-road driving regardless of the environmental impact. Therefore, they're banning them. Seems a little harsh, but anyway, the Facebook video shows a number of vehicles traveling in unison across a wide open plain with mountains on either side over a riverbed before joining a tarmac road. Voiceover says, one of nature's true spectacles, and Toyota Helix born to roam, before a shot showing the car parked in a rocky natural environment. That was enough for them to pull them, and you can no longer advertise them as off-road. I mean, I respect a country or a region or a government's willingness to try to preserve their natural environments. I'm into it. That's great.
Right.
I don't think people see Toyota ads and go, Maybe I'm underestimating the British, but I just don't know how they see that and go, you know what I'm going to do?
Yeah.
I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to take, I don't know why they think that that's a thing, but
I think that you're very good at knowing how dumb people can be and how far they'll take something, but I still feel like you give people far too much credit.
Yeah.
The general populace.
You know what it is? It's a numbers problem, because I know that the majority of people aren't this stupid.
Yeah.
But I don't give enough credit to the minority of people who are that stupid. And there are, and when you say that with a world full of 8 billion people, the minority is still a very significant in the millions.
Still a very significant number. And I feel like that minority might be like 49%. Like it's a minority, but it's not a big minority. It's not like we're not talking about 10% or 20%. I think we're talking about maybe a significant close to half kind of portion. I see so much.
Harsh. Half seems like a lot.
Well, all right, maybe it is, but I swear to God, every time I drive, every time I'm on the road doing Lyft, no matter what, no matter where I am, if I'm in a part of the street or a part of the highway that is, has told me via several signs that this lane exits at the next exit. This is a right turn. Like this lane will exit only. Always 2 or 3 cars in front of me don't realize it until they're on the ramp and they realize, oh, I need to get back on the highway. And so they cross over the solid white line, sometimes over the grass median between them to get back on the highway, and nearly cause an accident with the people in the correct lane. It's I just see the worst of humanity out on the roads, and so many people just running red lights and running gated exits or entrance ramps. Not gated, what do they call that? Or they maybe call them gated? But the ones where they 2 cars per green light. People go, whatever. Yeah. 4 cars, I think.
Yeah.
I waited. I'm going.
I see a lot of dumbness in those things for sure.
Yeah.
Every time I pull up to one, I'm like, all right, everybody. We live in a society. Let's do this right.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and it's like always. It's always the person at the front of the left turn lane who is doing something on their phone and don't notice the arrow until it turns yellow and they make it through. And there's nothing that gets under my cheese like that.
Well,
to use a Scott phrase.
Well, let me ask you this: is it possible? So I'm going to go ahead and say I think there's at least 20% who are frightfully stupid.
Okay, yeah. Oh, definitely. There's stages. There are different levels.
But then there's like, when you really start digging down, 50% of that 20%, pure psychotics. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah, like if you're thinking about this in the Photoshop gradient creator, it's not 0 and 100 green to red. It's we slide the red part of the slider in about 10% or 15%, but there's still that gradient happening in the middle. Yeah. But then there's that last chunk that is not a gradient at all.
No, it's just dark purple nightmare.
Exactly. Yes,
yeah,
right.
That's a good way of looking at it.
Whatever the color of dumb is, it is that.
Let's give dumb a color. What do we like for that?
That yellow green thing that nobody wants to use for anything. It's like it's the color of sick.
Oh yeah, the one. What is that called? That's called not gold.
It's usually the untouched crayon in the box.
Yeah, it's the crayon nobody wants. But it is like a puke green. I don't know what that is.
Green.
Claire says lime, but I don't think lime's bad. Lime's all right.
Yeah, no, lime is good. Like lime's usually more green. But
what's the color of your grandma's refrigerator range combo back in the day?
Oh, well, that's avocado green. So that's a different.
That's pretty bad.
That one's pretty bad, though. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of stupid.
Yeah.
I don't know what. It's almost like you have to have 2 really poorly matched colors, and call that the stupid colors. It's some combo. Yeah. It's like, give me blue what's an ugly combo that doesn't have any harmony? I can't think of
brown and anything.
Yeah, brown.
Brown
that's good.
and blue.
There you go. Brown and blue. That's a that's a horrible look.
It's a horrible combo. Yes.
That's for dumb people. Brown, blue, blue, brown.
Yeah. Make sure.
I guess we have to be careful with brown.
I'm making sure I'm not wearing because I'm wearing my same-sex Mary like bluish teal shirt here, and that
would have been funny if it was. It'd be great if it was brown and blue. I would laugh.
Hilarious. Hilarious.
Yeah, we would have really bitten the thing that time.
Yeah, here we go. Right here is look at that. Can I copy that image?
Let's see.
That right here in our Discord.
Let's see what you got.
Here's somebody who's selling 10 green yellow Crayola crayons
Ooh.
untouched on Etsy. You know why? Because every time I buy a box of crayons, these seem to be untouched.
There should be no other reason you have this many of this one color than if you just never used them in the boxes you owned.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it's not like Crayola sells this by itself.
No, it's basically it's Homer telling Marge that they need more Neapolitan ice cream because he doesn't want to eat the strawberry.
I love that episode.
Yeah,
Classic.
it's such a great line.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, no chocolate. Oh, no chocolate. Marge, we need more Neapolitan ice cream.
I feel like it pretty well captured how I treat Neapolitan ice cream. I always ate the chocolate and didn't really care for the rest. Yeah.
You didn't do a scoop right across to get all of them, huh?
No.
Oh.
I like strawberry, but I think it's the vanilla I'm opposed to. I don't like vanilla.
Okay.
Never really. Well, unless it's like amazing vanilla ice cream, like handcrafted, fancy whatever. I like that.
Yeah.
But if it's just like the big white tub you buy at the grocery store, blah, that's the worst ice
really?
cream.
Okay.
So
Fair enough.
bad. That was always the thing at the family get-togethers. Like, hey, we're getting together for July 4th, everybody. I'll bring ice cream. And then they bring these like $2 tubs of ice cream that just taste like, I don't know, Vaseline milk or something.
Oh, that's so not good. Usually it's a whole brand thing. Like I stay away from I can't remember the name of the store brand.
Yeah, it's usually store
Kroger.
brands. Yeah, like Kroger brand. They're the worst.
Kroger brand. Yeah, it is the worst. Go Blue Bunny. Go. What is it? Not is it Udi's or Edie's?
Oh, I don't
know. There's like
know.
a really good 3-letter brand. Dryers and Briars. You can't go wrong with either of those.
Either of the Eyres are good.
Either of the Eyres. Yeah.
And I like. Oh crap! The name of it escapes me. Oh, there's a place here locally. It's an ice cream shop, but it's called Brookers or Bookers, Brookers, I think.
Brookers, okay.
And everything's themed like founding fathers stuff, 1700s, like all that. And so when you go in, you order like, I want the John Adams, and the John Adams is like peanut butter, chocolate, something.
Oh,
like
nice.
These combos.
Okay, that's good.
And the poor kids that work there have to dress up like they're in the 1700s. I kind of feel bad for them.
That's really funny. Oh, I love it. I want to go there.
But their ice cream is amazing, and their vanilla is like killer. It's so good. So
we have a local one too called Little Man Ice Cream, and it's so good that like local shops put signs in their window saying we have Little Man ice cream. Like it's a restaurant, but they want you to know that eat your food, fine, but don't forget for dessert we've got Little Man ice cream. Is kind of what they're saying.
Was it founded by a little tiny man, little guy?
It's well, I don't know what the origin of the name is, but their flagship location is one of those giant metal milk cartons, or not cartons, but milk containers, like a milk. Oh God.
Oh, like the old school, like a metal milk container.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I can't think what those things are called, but anyway, it's a giant one of those, and they basically sell. That's like a walk-up stand in the bottom of it, where they sell ice cream.
That sounds awesome.
It's incredible. And then they added a second location on Colfax. I took Barry and Ren to that one, and it is the Willy Wonka shop. Like you got a window into where they're making the ice cream, and then they've got a system on the ceiling, like a pulley conveyor belty kind of system, where they hook the ice cream up and send it across to the place where they scoop it up for you.
Yeah.
And a big slide in the middle of it, so you could walk up some stairs and then slide down the slide. And
They have any green and orange tiny people singing as they
none that I've seen, but there is a part of the kitchen that we're not able to see, so they might be in there. Yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah, Tillamook I like too. Absolutely.
Oh man, I don't remember the place they took me in Columbus, but it was amazing. I don't remember the name, but someone took me there. All right, that is going to do it for today's news. We're going to take a break. When we come back, my sister Wendy will be here. We got an email to go through, and we're going to talk a bit about that. It's also pretty timely for this time of year, I think. You know?
Oh, good. Oh, excellent. Can't wait to
Everyone's
hear.
showering each other with gifts, and not really thinking too much about what people really want. We just sort of want to just give them shit. Well, maybe that'll make us think a little bit. We'll see. After that, though, who knows what'll be after that? Well, we just know there's a song here. So, Brian, what are we doing?
Sure. This is Molly O'Leary, and you can probably tell by their name that they're from Mexico. They got a brand new album called Marigold, which is coming out February 23rd, 2024. They're an incredible singer-songwriter, and this is the first single from their album. Here is Molly O'Leary and the title track, Marigold.
I'm getting out of here. I'm going back to Waterloo where the vampires hang out. And I'm going to wear my sunglasses at night. You know why? Because women have short skirts and then they feel violated when I look at them. Why? Because I have sunglasses on and I'm weird.
To eat things that'll make a billy goat puke.
And we return. Tell me who that was one more time.
Oh, man, that voice, those audio clips you're playing, that guy sounds horrible.
Yep.
That is Marigold by Molly O'Leary. Check out their album coming out in early 2024. That is the title track and early single from the album.
Very, very nice.
Yes.
All right, let's call my sister Wendy.
Let's call her Wendy?
Let's
That's
call
fine.
her
I mean, that's her
Wendy.
name, so I feel like that is a...
Wendy
That's
with an
a
I.
name you can call her is Wendy.
I agree, and
that's
it
her name.
sounds the same whether it's an I or a Y. It doesn't really matter. You know?
Wendy.
Wendy.
I'll explain the situation to Wendy. Don't worry.
Oh, hello, Wendy. How are you? Do you ever get called?
Hello?
Oh, I don't hear. Hello?
Wendy.
Is she changing her mic? Probably. Oh, hello. Are you back?
Hello, I'm here.
Oh, you're here. That was weird. We hear you now. Do you hear us? Okay.
Sorry. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Oh, good. You know,
Good,
you
I'm
thought
here.
you thought that edible was just a regular gummy, and now you're learning the hard way. But anyway, it's good to have you here. Did you? So when if somebody says Wendy versus Wendy, do you get irritated? Does it bug you?
Nobody ever says Wendy.
Yeah, because they can tell the I is at the end and not in the middle.
I feel like Dad used to say Wendy.
100%. He never once spelled my name right and called me Wendy.
Yeah.
Oh, did he never spell it right either?
Yeah, he spelled it. I have a couple of samples of his writing. He was not a big writer, but
He hated
he
writing.
wrote my name Windy once.
Oh, really? Okay, so he really did spell it and pronounce it Wendy.
Yeah.
Huh, hilarious.
Yeah. Weird,
I
right?
bet he secretly wished that was my name, and Mom wouldn't let him. And that was his password.
The song by The Association. That's Windy though, right? That is Windy.
Wendy.
Everyone
knows it's
Wendy.
Windy.
I don't know. You can kind of go both ways.
Wendy, isn't it? I don't know.
I
You
thought
may
it
be
was
right.
Windy.
I don't know.
I'm taking a look right
If
now.
only we had the internet.
Yeah. It'd be amazing if we had the internet. Can you imagine life with the internet?
Windy is correct. The song is called Windy, not Wendy,
Oh.
and everyone knows it's windy.
Oh.
Is it just a song about the weather? I always thought it was about a woman.
Oh my
Me
gosh.
too.
Now I don't know what to think. They even have that episode of Breaking Bad. You got Wendy, the hooker lady, and they sing that song. That song is playing.
Do they?
Yeah, and it's in my head. They have a little montage of her doing some dirty work for Todd or whoever.
Who's peeking out from under a stairway, calling a name that's lighter than air.
Ah,
I saw
see?
them live, believe it or not. I actually saw the Association live.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh, dude!
Yeah.
Write that down and never forget.
Yeah,
All
maybe
right,
I
Wendy, it's
will.
it's good to have you here. As always, we've been back and forth a little bit on. We were going to start a series or a possible series on the topic of. Now I already forgot what you told me yesterday.
Objectification.
Objectification.
I need a launching pad. So someone please send us an email.
So I wanted to give people opportunity. How do you want that? Yeah. What's the context we
Somebody
want?
Who feels like they've been or has been objectified or has caught themselves objectifying somebody.
Like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because there's a lot of really interesting new research on some of this behavior and what it actually does to us and how we treat others. And it has, major ramifications when it comes to like domestic violence stuff and some wild outcomes. Like the more someone has seen their partner as an object versus an animal, right? We believe animals can feel pain. And so there is a different treatment than if you think something is an object, because you don't think objects have pain. And in fact, these domestic violence abusers have milder sentences in some cases because of objectification. It's wild. Anyway, so there's a lot of interesting stuff around it. And I just need to not lecture everyone for 40 minutes. So I'd like someone, if they would, maybe it's their, and even this, like I would pose for you guys, like when have you ever felt like an object before? Have you ever had that experience? And here's a great way to think about this is how you then internalize your own feelings of how you treat yourself, right? Do you treat yourself like an object sometimes?
Okay.
And then, I can get into the nitty gritty of it and what our brain's doing, but I would just love if someone gave me a little.
All right, we'll prepare for that. Brian and I'll be thinking about our end of it, and we'll get something going. I'm sure somebody will write in about this. Even if they don't, I have this example I was thinking about the other day where every time I see an AI bro talking about some new image generation thing and how stoked they are about it, this is a game changer and all that kind of talk, it's always a hot chick.
Yeah.
I don't mean the person saying it. I mean the image they're generating is always some half-naked, perfect, non-human, but very pretty girl that now, talk about objectification. Like, it's never like, here's a car and the way I think it'd look cool, or it's never any of that. It's always a girl.
Well, it might be a car, but there's a hot chick on top of it.
Yeah. And it's always a girl who looks just a little too young, in my opinion. It's always just a little weird. So anyway, we can talk about it.
Look at the video games and stuff. It's like, there's so much of that in video
gaming
games.
For sure. Yeah.
Well, and you're leaning into the thing that we'll go into, but just how that then affects everyone.
Yeah.
It's like that exact thing, the game changer, is literally changing the game of how humans respond to one another in some interesting ways. So yeah. We'll get into it.
All right, we'll do that. But today we're not doing that. Today we're going to talk a little bit about material.
This is Christmas time, everyone. This was what was motivating about this. I was like,
That's what the Peanuts characters told us. Christmas time is here.
That's right.
It's here.
Christmas time is really here. That's how that song goes. So we're going to read an email from someone whose name we're not going to read, but it is all about material possessions and maybe a little commercialism, but also just about being a material boy or girl in this world. Okay. Think Madonna, but less ironic or less on the nose. Anyway, dear Wendy and the boys, it starts. Recently, I've been grappling with concerns about my growing attachment to material possessions. I've noticed that my self-worth is often tied to the things I own, and the pursuit of acquiring more and more has become a growing source of false or fleeting satisfaction. It seems to be getting worse. Oh, I almost sneezed. I don't want to sneeze.
It's okay.
Recently,
feel free to if you need to.
It was one of those.
You already told us, so just do it.
I feel like it's going to happen, but then it doesn't.
Look at a light.
I hate those.
Look at a light.
Recently, does that work for you? Because Kim did this to the kids when they would sneeze. She'd click her fingernails in their face, and they would not sneeze.
And make them look up. Yeah.
It was weird. Anyway, recently I found myself in a complete panic at the thought of selling a vintage item, which I purchased years ago with the intent to sell for a profit later. But I can't seem to let go of it. The anxiety and weird levels of attachment I feel are overwhelming, and it made me realize I might be too attached to the material things that I own. I've unfortunately always associated these possessions with my sense of self-worth, and parting with them feels like losing a piece of my identity. How can I navigate this emotional attachment to material goods and detach my self-worth from the things I own? Any advice or insights you could share would mean a lot to me, and I'm sure it could help others who might be experiencing something similar. Thanks, someone named Jay. Then there's a P.S. I know Wendy likes more context, so here's a few things. I'm a 35-year-old single white male who grew up in a kind of normal but kind of poor family. I recently moved across the country for a great job. I have plenty of money and don't need all the things, but I love collecting high-end items like watches, shoes, wine, games, and books. My family is not like me in any way, in this way at all. They live modestly, but do not have a lot of junk and a garage they could never park in. So there's that.
They do have a lot of junk and a garage they could never park in.
Oh, I thought he was saying he did. Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that some of that might be.
Oh, for sure.
The
Like
source
carried
here.
down. That's a, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad he added the extra stuff. Always give us PSs, everybody, if you want, if you really want the context to help
And
our
it's
conversation.
and my guess is that it's not a genetic thing. It's not a hereditary thing that gets passed down, but it's a value that your parents probably instill on you that, oh, don't waste anything. If you throw it out, you're wasting it, and you better save it because you never know when you're going to need it.
There could be some of that going on. Dad did this
Okay.
with us.
I do way too much of that myself.
Yeah.
So this, I want everyone to think about themselves as we talk about this.
Do every day.
Yeah.
That's all I do.
Because that's all you do is think about yourself. It's because this is so universal, especially, and the underlying reasons are pretty universal too. I don't know if you guys have seen this. I don't know. It's a thing, a post, a meme, whatever. But it was like, why are millennials so obsessed with minimalism? And it's all these pictures of, well, this is what their parents and grandparents' houses look like. And there's so much crap in those things. And here's the thing. So you have just within context of different eras of, sort of asset accumulation at different times, right? Like when we bought our house in, Salt Lake City, just outside of, the house is built in the 40s, just after, during the war and just after the war, there was one closet and it fit maybe a couple pairs of shoes and a few jackets. And that is all the space you needed then, apparently, for your things. And right. And it was like, whoa, how did they live like that? Well, everyone lived like that. That's how many goods were available. And that's what you did. Right. But you take folks who went through some real desperate times and they save everything and they keep everything and they have everything out, I went recently to an estate sale and, everything in that house, this family thought was going to be worth so much money one day. And they were like plates that had a painting on it or like a set of pennies or whatever, whatever they were sold as, this is an investment in your future, and that they're being sold for $1 at an estate sale. And in fact, no one probably really was ever going to buy them. And so it's a bit of that, like we have this built into us and we come from people who didn't have a bunch at a point in their life. And then we're also humans who have for a long time just really needed that stick to help build the door to our cave. Like we're going to accumulate. Our brains are going to give us dopamine when we accumulate something because it's going to mean survival or success or whatever, right? And that leads up, all the way up till, this is status and people think I'm cool because I'm wearing this brand or I drive this car, those kinds of things, right? So long history, your own family history matters. So I appreciated the little extra with family history. And that seems kind of a little obvious version of this, but we all have our version of this. So you may be hearing this like, well, I grew up wealthy and I just don't care about things. And you're like, well, that's the opposite reaction because it was never sort of felt scarce to you, right? So scarcity is one of our just innate survival biases in our brain to see things as scarce, as resources as scarce. So we will collect and gather and have so we can survive, right?
Right. Back in the day, it was we're all out of meat or the berries are gone or whatever it was we had to survive on. And so hoarding that for the winter made sense and getting as much of it as you could and being competitive about who gets it. Like all those things helped you survive.
Right.
And so why would we expect that to disappear? Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'm not looking at your camera, Scott, but I'm guessing there's a lot of things around you.
Oh, you should see Brian's camera, but yeah, I got a
Hey
bunch of things around here.
she's talking about you first.
Yeah, let's start with me. But no, there's so much crap I want to get rid of, and then when I go to do it, I look at it and go, oh, but I really like that.
Yeah. See, now my situation though is that's just all I have right behind me. The rest of the basement, sparse and empty,
minimalist.
and bare. Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
okay.
Oh, same here.
Okay.
Nothing past here. It's all
past where the camera can see.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about actually the things themselves. This is actually related to objectification a little bit, and this is what it got me thinking of. How we treat people as objects is a whole different episode, right? But how we treat objects as people, right? So they don't have human capacity, right? Objects do not. They're inanimate, right? But we relate to them sometimes like they're people. So let me give you some examples. Have you ever named your car?
Yes.
Have you ever patted the hood when it got you somewhere safely?
Yes.
Nope. So far, so good.
Have you anthropomorphized your things or your animals or your tools or your machines, right? So humans need human connection. And so we find a way to meet this need if there are no other humans around. So think of Tom Hanks with the old volleyball, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Were you all not so devastated when Wilson
Oh, yeah.
Got
Floated
lost.
away?
Yeah.
Floated
Right.
away. Absolutely.
Sure.
So how did that happen? That happened because we imbue onto objects characteristics that, of course, then, we bond to, or, they do something for us. So there's bonding there.
Sure.
So it just happens. None of us are thinking too much about this, right? But let's take a couple studies that you guys might find interesting. Okay. So this was 2015. Took a big group of children and did this, like a computer game. I think it was a computer game, but it was fixed. Of course, it's always fixed. Okay, so experimenters, what they did was they arranged so the kids would win one game and then they would lose the other game. Okay,
Okay.
and then they would let them win again just so they could not be crying on their way out the door, I guess. So they won one, lost one, won one. So after winning and losing, the researchers basically asked, would they be willing to lend their favorite item? Maybe it was their favorite shirt or toy or something. Would they be willing to lend it to another child for one night?
Yeah.
Okay. So I just wanted to see if there was any injury, like losing would be creating an injury. Okay.
Right.
And a social context, or just like they feel bad about their sense of self or something. What that would do to their attachment to a possession. Okay. Any guesses? What happened?
I'm guessing that if they lost, they were more likely to kind of cling to the things that were theirs and be less likely to share them.
That would be
Yes,
my guess
totally.
as well. Yeah.
And it was literally twice as likely to be willing to share.
Oh, that much? Wow.
If they won the game. If they didn't win the game last. So it just was in order, right? So
Wow.
the ordering, right? So if you
really? So they
lost,
still won and lost the same
Yeah.
number of games,
Uh-huh.
but if the last game they played was one they lost.
and then
Wow.
asked to share their favorite item, they just were not going to do it, right?
Yeah.
And we've known for a long time about transitional objects, like a security blanket or like your whoopee, right? Or you take some cloth from your mom's shirt and you carry that around school till you're in 7th grade or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You have this like connection to another human and the body of, it's imbued in a body of an object, right?
Yeah.
So we've all known this. We probably haven't thought much about it, but it kind of boils down to some attachment theory. We've talked about attachment theory here a little bit in the past, but if anyone wants to Google it, it's sort of late 20th century work. This is not like, this stuff isn't that old.
Right.
When we were like, oh, do humans bond? And so you have all these British psychologists doing this pioneering work because I'm sure they were not getting bonding while they were in boarding school from age 8. But anyway,
Sure.
So there was a lot of like research early age figuring out like how humans attach to each other or don't. And we talked about this a little bit. Maybe this might be repeating for some people, but just the different styles of attachment that we tend to have. So these are with people. Let's start that they're with people first.
Right.
So the attachment styles are secure, and that is when you get your main caregivers are meeting your needs, and it's pretty predictable. You can develop a secure attachment. It's just safe. Your attachment goes both ways, and feel really good. And when those people then go on in different areas of their life, relationships, their own child rearing, there's a tendency to just for them to healthily attach. It's just easier for them to do that, right? And then the other attachment styles are avoidant. And that is often if your caregiver kind of pushed you away in times of need, you might have developed this avoidant style, which is just like independent, emotionally distant, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then the other is more of an anxious attachment style. And that is where you perceive your caregiver as inconsistent. So sometimes they meet your needs, sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
And so you're sort of clinging to or constantly monitoring if people in your intimate life are still there for you or not. So you're just sort of always gauging that.
Right.
That's a rough one. Often I have found, and this is anecdotal, I'm sure there's numbers on this, but avoidant attachment and anxious attachment, people really like each other.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's a tricky one because
is that like a weird codependency thing? That's not the word I'm looking for, but like an unhealthy combo for
it can be, yeah. And very yin and yang, right? Like if I am pulling away from you and I'm detached and you're anxious and having to always make sure I'm into you, right? Like that dances can be rough.
Yeah.
And it's not like everybody. And then, you can actually get together someone with a secure attachment style, and it really can heal a lot of your other avoidant or anxious attachment styles, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, not always the case. That's a lot of work too.
Sure. Yeah. It sounds like.
Anyway, but so in 1987, some researchers they wanted to put some numbers to these attachment styles. So it's not like everyone's in the same category or whatnot. But what they found is about 56% of people are securely attached, have that style. And then 20% are anxious and about 24 are avoidant. Now, we think this is changing. We think people are actually getting more anxiously attached or avoidantly attached.
At a rapid rate, or like
I don't know if it's rapid. I just think what we're
scaling.
finding is as people are spending less time with actually other people. That there is, it's not, I don't know what chicken and the egg quite is, because I know there's more parenting attention and meeting children's needs, and there really has been a lot more around that. So you would think it would just be getting better. But what maybe we're noticing is actually attachment issues in relationships, not necessarily with your parents, are showing up in, going back to my dating online problem, right?
Right.
Where think of the level of attachment styles showing up in an app, and then you're at the risk of, sort of all the feelings and all the things and all of the, so it's gonna really maybe trigger some anxious attachment stuff or insecure stuff. And maybe you weren't insecure to start with and you become insecure, right? So we're finding there's a bit of a thing. And so 2014, there was a meta-analysis of a bunch of different studies, all college students sort of looking at their securest attachment scores. And so we have some numbers, which is 49% sort of met the secure attachment criteria in 1988, and it was down to 42% in 2011. And that wasn't even when there were dating apps. So, so they're kind of suspecting, it's just more individualism, that kind of thing. And the actual thing, which ties back to this person's email, is materialism. Because who doesn't ever let you down? Those vintage pair of Jordans that are worth
I was going to say a pet, but yeah, it is though. It is the yeah.
Yeah, but a pet is also similar, right? Like I put all those emotional needs on this animal, and it gives it back, right? And objects actually, again, we imbue some of these characteristics to objects. So going back to what this person had written, like they are wondering, why am I so attached to my things? And it wasn't really until trying to sell something that it was like, wait, I am really like, I love this thing and I don't want to let it go. Yeah. So the only thing they didn't write, which I would love if he had said, what is romantic status? He did say he was single, but like, how's that going? And is that, and didn't he say he moved across the country?
Yeah. Recently for a job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you've got all new social stuff that is going to be way more in flux, and do I belong? And feeling connected or not connected, right? So kind of this idea is that the less connected we are in our human relationships, the less the more insecure we are there is a tendency to put more on our material objects, right? And notice we have phrases for this, right? Retail therapy. Like you're gonna buy things to feel better about something, right?
Yeah.
Maybe a breakup or maybe, some other things. So kind of this idea, as you cling tightly to your belongings when you feel less confident about the people around you. Okay, so I got another study for you. Ready?
Yep, go.
So in 2012, this is one of my favorite journals of experimental social psychology.
Okay.
Just because you're going to do weird stuff.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love when people do weird stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So people were asked to, first of all, write 3 recent instances where someone close to them had let them down. So they write them out.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then a second group is asked either to write about when a stranger had let them down or they let themselves down. So the first group is all people close to them letting them down. Second group is a stranger or even themselves letting themselves down. Okay?
Yeah.
So you could kind of see it this way, that first group was primed to consider the unreliability of close friends or romantic partners.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then they reported that they felt less certain that they could count on others, and they showed an increased attachment to objects. Right?
Oh, really? Okay.
All right.
Yeah. And then there was another study that sort of asked people to write a couple sentences about uncertainties they felt about their abilities or uncertainties they felt about their relationship. So again, you're sort of priming them to be in the headspace that they are not so sure about others' reliability.
Right. And stick to the things that they could count on, their possessions and
their possessions. And either so your ability, or sorry, other people or yourself. You would think that would also maybe do it, right? But what they kept finding consistently is that it's other people letting them down, not themselves, not their own foibles or whatever, that get them more attached to their stuff, right? Okay, so anyway, what they did was they got them primed to feel uncertain about other people and their relationships, right?
Yeah.
And then the experimenter asked all the participants to give them their cell phones, which would be returned after they did some writing thing, right?
Right.
And what they found that those asked to write about uncertainties in terms of their relationships had major separation anxiety from their phone. And then were like flying through the writing task to get back to their phone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the other group just was like writing the thing and it wasn't that big a deal. So that's interesting, right? So, your sweatshirt that's like tattered and
yeah,
golden boy, the one you don't want to get rid of.
Yeah,
I got exactly.
A few of those.
Or your mug that you love, or your teddy bear, right? Like those objects are reliable. They're always present. They're under your control, and you can count on them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what does this all mean for our friend?
Yeah, that's a good question. What do we tell him?
Well, you are.
Because he's not. I feel like he's not doing it as much. Well, I shouldn't say this because I don't know, but it doesn't seem like he's doing it as much out of a desperate attempt to have things around him he can rely on.
Right.
He's doing things like really expensive watches, and I have a couple of friends that are way, way, way into watches and spend most of their expendable money per year on a new watch or multiple watches. Wow. And they're, one day it's a Tag Heuer, the next day it's some Rolex, the next day it's some other thing. And
wonder if there's some sort of psychological thing that they're just trying to get more time.
Yeah, maybe that's
desperate for
sounds
time.
punny, but it's like, if I get another watch, maybe I'll have more time to do the things I need to do.
Yeah. Okay. Did you guys happen to ever see Superstore?
Yes.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Love that.
Do you remember
show.
the episode where Dina's birds get let out at her prized possession, and she's so sad, and they all hide the fact that they accidentally let her birds out.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
then for payback, because she's psycho, she burned all of, I forget his name, all of his really expensive shoes.
The guy in the wheelchair. Yes.
Wheelchair. Yeah. And that was such a great episode to illustrate sort of our deep need we put in these other things and trauma, and then how we can harm each other with our objects. But what I'm thinking about for our emailer specifically, though, is if you think about, let's just say, I could be wrong, but let's just say there is like a hoarding tendency at home, and, having some poverty questions of just not having enough could definitely, and we can all be clear, there are billionaires who are hoarders, right? It's not that you don't have enough money, but there is a tendency to feel scarcity when it is a legitimate thing. You literally don't have enough stuff, or money to replace stuff. You're going to keep stuff, right? Okay. So that's the environment. I would ask a lot more questions about that. That would be really interesting to find out how that relates to this. So the niceness of those items makes sense to me. That it's kind of the opposite of the thing, but it becomes the same thing. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I get that.
Hanging on to them, right? And so maybe growing up, and these are some of the questions I would ask, is just what was it like growing up, having your parents, like how did they treat objects?
Right.
How were you treated? What was the values on things in your home? And sometimes it can be totally opposite, like, oh, they didn't care about any stuff. And then it could all be we collected everything and they were so valuable. And, this painted plate that's supposed to be worth millions of dollars one day it's on the mantle, like how were those messages given, et cetera. So I would look into that for him, and also then do a thorough check of what are your real life connections like with humans. Is there something going on there that your self-esteem is so wrapped around the items and my value and who I am? And, maybe we would need to do some identity work. Like, what else am I if I'm not the guy with the amazing watch or the vintage book collection or whatever it might be? Because we all do this to some extent. It's identity development. I am the person who does this thing,
right? Or
whatever, right? So there's some definitely all the normal stuff here. And it's probably not as serious as it could be, right? But it really is important when you start to ask yourself that question, when you start to sort of wonder, what is my attachment to things? And then what are the consequences of my attachment to things, right? You have lots of world religions that would argue, or philosophies, or Stoicism, whatever. You can kind of go around the rounds and find most will have some idea pointing to maybe we shouldn't be so attached to things,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Some of them really like that prosperity gospel thing where you should buy yourselves private planes and things like that. But that's more
100%.
Yeah.
Right. Which is so. We should have another session on shadows, but that's such shadow stuff, right?
We should do shadow. I love that. I know what you're talking about. We should totally do one on that one day.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah. It'll be good.
We'll leave it as that's a January conversation.
Yeah, we'll do that in January. And it's all about Alec Baldwin and the failed 90s film, The Shadow. Brian.
Now I get it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, you understand. Yeah.
Anyway, so kind of that idea of that like, hey, to be a happier person is to not be so attached to the material world, right? Like this is not new. And the conundrum of I don't actually feel really good about my over attachment or whatever it might be is fascinating. So this morning, Adam and I were talking about Christmas. I am really good at Christmas usually, everyone. I'm not. There's no snow, so I'm confused.
Yeah, right.
I don't know how to
have snow.
do it.
What's going on with no snow where you live? How come that's a thing?
Oh, it's terrible. It's 40 degrees today. This is like a raging hot summer day.
Oh God,
weird. That's weird.
But you've had cold weather up there. I know I've seen. You just haven't had any precipitation.
But I have what all the rest of you have, where it comes and goes, and there's like a cold spout everyone gets. That's what we've had. We don't have our own version of it anymore.
No, and it's true. I'm looking at my pseudo window right now, and it's green grass or greenish brown grass, completely devoid of any moisture or piles of snow or corner. Like the shadowy corners. Yeah, there's none of that.
It's sad. I don't know why, but anyway, so I'm not feeling the mood, and I'm like, our kids don't. What do they even want? Nobody even wants Christmas presents. This is dumb. And then I get this email, and I'm like, oh yeah, let's not be attached to things. So we thought of this very funny idea of what if the thought that counts, right? You literally just give the thought. So it would be.
You basically tell them, I thought about this for you, or I thought about you the other day.
100%. So here's mine. I thought about this amazing trip to Thailand, and I will even find the hotel. And I will put all of it in, I'm going to make it so it looks like this is this amazing trip that's going to be planned. I won't write a date, of course. And here's the planning. This is how much it'll cost. And honestly, he would feel like, oh, you would do that for me? And also, I just saved $8,000 by not doing it. So that's what's happening at our house for Christmas. I don't really know how to undo, it's not that everyone feels very differently about some of these things for reasons, right? Because we all have our own childhoods. We all have our own relationship with things and money. And we all have our own baggage that comes with gifts and giving and receiving. And like, it's a complicated, not let alone talk about family dynamics. We're just talking about your own experience with some of these things, this weird time of year where we suddenly give each other presents and it creates weirdness. But, taking a look at what is your own attachment style with objects is an interesting thing, right? I think you got a lot of collectors that listen to you guys and a lot of, I don't know, I feel like painting miniatures is a comment every 5 or 6 Therapy Thursdays.
Comes up a lot. Yeah. Comes up a lot.
That there is some love of some collectibles and cool stuff and like having that around you, right? And so finding what actually feels good and maintaining that as opposed to that can get out of control because we're humans, right? We keep gathering. Our brain will keep telling us to get a new thing. It just does. So it's going to take energy to do something different. And often when people can just kind of explore their thing, and I'm going to ask you two to just do that for us real quick, because we're going to ask this emailer to do it. You got to do it for him. Okay. What is your, if I just say any memory in getting something that was an object, buying it for yourself, someone giving it to you, having it in your possession that just like pops in your head is like the joy, right? Like you are so happy.
An Atari 2600 in 1970 something. Awesome. Nice. When I found it hidden behind the chair in my parents' room, hadn't been wrapped yet, and so I knew it was coming. But the joy and the smile on my face that I I have from that. Now you're gonna ask me if I still have it somewhere in this house, aren't you?
Yeah, do you?
I do still have I do, yes. And it's not because I held on to it as much as it's because my Uncle George held on to it when I didn't want to hold on to it anymore. It's like, oh, I'll hold on to it.
But now you're glad he held on to it, right?
I'm glad he held on to it. He gave it back to me, and so I still have it. Yeah.
Probably never use it again. Maybe never play it again. Might for laughs.
I don't know how I'd ever even hook it up to anything because it needs those little 2-prong things.
Yeah, the RF adapter crap.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
For me, it's probably similar. Well, a little older maybe, but how old was I then? You remember when Mom and Dad went to Japan and they came back with a bunch of stuff that was way ahead of anything we could buy here?
Oh, yeah.
So
like a big old camera.
Yeah. Back in the day, the battery like you'd wear on your shoulder, and then the camera was up here, but you had the tape part down here. Yeah. That seems old now, but at the time it was like cutting edge. A VCR that like didn't go shunk. It was one you fed it into. So it was all this like Japanese only stuff that wasn't in the States yet for another 6 or 8 months. And two of the things they brought back for me and my brother were boom boxes from Hitachi. And they were so far advanced compared to any other kid's 80s boombox that I knew.
Yeah.
And I loved that thing so much, held on to it the entire time, and to this day still have it in the house, but technically Carter has inherited it because she thinks it's the greatest thing ever. But it still works. It still exists. It's still a thing. Doesn't play tapes anymore. That quit working, but the radio works. And it still sounds really good. And I used to use that as kind of a status symbol. I'd show up to play basketball on Saturday mornings with friends or whatever, and I'd bring this boombox, hook that thing up, and play, I don't know, Duran Duran as loud as I could. And the kids would be like, oh, whoa, no way. Mine's not even close to this. Where do you get these? Brr. Like it was that whole thing. Mm-hmm. So I have a whole circle of feelings around, mostly positive feelings around that thing and how cool I thought it was.
That's awesome.
So that was fun.
So let me tell you how brain studies just you guys prove the point. Good job. And a brain study from Yale will just confirm. In an fMRI machine, objects that a person has previously just imagined as mine activated the same brain regions as anyone's reference to their own selfhood. So when you identify with something hard, your brain is literally firing in the same spot as it does when you think about who I am, right?
Yeah.
which is why it can become pathological and become problematic, right? And just a quick 4 to 5% of the adult population can have a pathological condition of this. So you imagine, like, you've seen hoarders, I've read a couple people, they watch hoarders to get them to clean their own house. Like it helps motivate them. It's like their body double. Like, I'm going to watch this. This is going to make me want to clean out a cupboard or whatever. Because it's so relatable in terms of like, because we all have the capacity, right? But about 4 or 5% actually can kind of.
Yeah, that's like you see it and you go, well, I get a catharsis out of it because I'll watch a Hoarders episode and go, well, whatever my problems are, it's nothing like this. This is great. Like I feel pretty, I feel better about me.
Right. If seeing somebody who does it worse always makes you feel better.
Yeah, but it also works as a motivation to never get there. Like I don't want to go there. Yeah. So like now's the time to work on it. But I've always said the only difference, I've maybe said this twice, the only difference between a poor hoarder, your average hoarder on the show Hoarders, and a millionaire billionaire who buys everything he wants, the only difference between these people is one of them can afford all the storage space and the other one can't.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah,
right.
Well, something to note here. Okay, so part of why that is true for every one of us. Of course, if your brain lights up when it's mine in my center of self, when you watch any of the hoarder stuff or you feel it yourself, is the extreme is I want to die if I let go of this thing.
Yeah.
Right? It's treasured. I'm losing a part of myself. And that take anyone's part of themselves. They're not going to let it go easily, right? And something noteworthy here. 99% of all that hoarding work and research and understanding is US and Europe. This is not a problem in lots and lots of places. In fact, a new study on Taiwanese children basically shows that like a collectivist society versus an individual society have a different relationship to material things. So some of this, the lonelier we get, the more disconnected maybe from other humans, the more materialistic we get. And then that feels more like us, right? And then we're more protective of that. And, here we go, on and on. But it's also the sort of recipe for misery, right? So you both have these like wonderful things that brought you so much joy and were so cool and are part of you. They're still in your house. That is an example of like, but times that by a lot, you're in trouble, right? But you can see like, there's nothing like wrong with this. It's just understanding it, I think, is really helpful. So when you find yourself, so back to the email, when he finds himself having a really strong reaction to one thing, really maybe taking a minute to go through the story of it. Like, what does this mean to me? We do this in real steps with when we eat slowly together, we eat mindfully together. Like, what is the memory that goes with this food? So when I did it with red vines, I was like, every fun family trip I ever went on had a red vine in it.
Yeah.
Right?
The red vine runs through it all. It's like a big giant red vine through your childhood, just ripped right through all your memories.
And at the state fair this summer, they had a giant red vine box. I have pictures of me hugging it. Because it's such a lovely part of my life, right? But do I need to eat a whole thing of it? I don't. No, I've learned to fix that. But I can still love it because it's imbued with connection to sentimental fun, whatever, right? So you don't have to, there's no beating yourself up in any of this, right? It's, let's get curious about it. What's my attachment style? How are my social relationships going? And figuring out maybe a little bit of, this is why we donate stuff too, right? We need it to have a good home because we really have imbued it to be another person.
Right.
And a relationship with
and some of that social pressure is like, well, I shouldn't just throw it away. I should find, there's a feeling of like this will be wasted if I don't give it to someone who needs it, or and which is, there's a lot of truth to that. But in some cases, my stuff, it's like some nerd thing that no one else is going to give a poop about, but I'm just so precious about it sometimes. It's like, well, what if I can't, maybe I'll find a kid who wants it, and then I end up not giving it away because I can't decide who should get it, and yeah. We've all been there.
I know. We're all. And so next time you look at your favorite object, call it a name, give it a hug, and then go meet a friend. Go meet a friend and build some bonds outside of your objects.
That's a good idea. All right. We'll can't wait to hear back from this dude who will also try to do what we did. Think of a thing Or what did you tell him to do? Is a little bit of homework. Think of the thing that you loved when you got it, and then what? Burn it?
Yeah,
Throw it away?
and no, don't burn it. Burn it. But just like get curious about it. Like really try to figure out where that love of it came from. Like you both gave good examples of like it makes sense, right? This is so core to both of you and it represented those things. And there's sometimes maybe we need to say goodbye to something, but also there might just be, no, I really like these nice watches and I'm going to keep them, but I really need to like join a trivia night and meet some people in my new city. You know what I mean? It's not the fact that he's having some panic and some other things just says there's more going on and, maybe take a look at it. And if it's not a problem for you, it's not a problem for you. Great.
Yeah.
And if you have a storage unit or two, there might be a problem,
Yeah, and there's a reason why people who seem to have everything and are still not satisfied end up on like Epstein's plane or something. You know what I mean? Like they start going to some dark places because life and things no longer give them anything. They just feel dead and they're like, well, what else can I do? I know I can go to Jeffrey Epstein's island and involve myself in that nightmare. At least before he was
a dark turn. Okay.
It was a bit of a dark turn.
I got something to pimp today because the Real Steps is over. The round was over. It was awesome. People were amazing. Thank you, everyone. It was so fun. But here's my new thing to pimp. Okay, this is just for my friend as a favor. Okay, if you happen to live in New York City, please do this. If you don't live in New York City, you can also just buy a ticket and donate it to a child. This is the one I told you about, the Gingerbread City. It's so cool. It's at the pier at the seaport on Fulton Street. And it is architects all over New York City built the coolest gingerbread houses, right?
Ooh.
So like, you're not going to see some kid's dumb gingerbread house. You're seeing architectural. It's awesome. Anyway, and they do really fun, so you can buy kits and take them home and do your own. You can do classes there or whatever. Anyway, so it's just opening. It's the first time it's in New York. She's so stressed. Anyway, so go to the website, thegingerbreadcity.com. And
that sounds awesome.
I know. Doesn't that sound fun? I wish I could just go.
How do you get I'd be so curious about how you recruit these amazing architects to even do this. Like,
right. Well, she's an architect. And she went to architecture school in New York, but she lives in London. There's been one going on in London for a long time.
Yeah.
And those architects, it's so funny, the difference. I'm not kidding. The architects in London are like wonderful, and they make their own gingerbread. She gives them a recipe, but they do their own thing, right? The architects in New York are like, yeah, we're not going to make gingerbread.
Yeah.
And so they had to get a fancy bakery to make the gingerbread because people would do it if someone else made their gingerbread. And I was like, welcome to America, friend.
Yeah.
Right, work. Exactly. Yes.
So anyway, it's really cool. It's there's that huge Christmas tree in front. It's like a really fun Christmas place to go anyway. But, tickets are $10 for kids, $18 for adults.
Psh.
And if you just are feeling generous and want to unattach yourself to $10, just go buy a kid ticket and then don't go.
Yeah, that's the cheapest thing in New York, it sounds like to me.
I know. You'll never get anything cheaper.
Name something you can get for $10. I think a slice of pizza is more than $10 in
guaranteed.
New York.
Right. This is your kid gets to see magical architecture. And it's also kind of like eco-themed. So it's like how land and water. It's cool. It feels like a museum kind of thing, but it's just also super fun. And the kits are amazing.
Yeah,
kits are way less expensive than a grocery store kit of crap for gingerbread. Sure. She's undercharging because she doesn't know how New York actually works. But give him
the URL one more time. What was the URL?
It is thegingerbreadcity.com.
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 Excellent.
In New York, so I could do this.
Yeah, that seems like a blast.
Right?
Wendy, have a fantastic rest of your week. We'll still see you at least one more time before the holiday, I believe.
That's correct. Okay.
And maybe by then, we'll talk about objectification.
Maybe. Okay.
See you then. Bye. All right. That was great. Super interesting stuff. Made me think about my all the crap I have I should get rid of. All right, that's going to do it for us. Big quick note here about all the stuff today. Coverville, again, noon or 1?
Yeah, noon, hour early, and then I'll watch my class they offset it. Basically, I can time delay it and watch it when I want to watch it. So I'll watch it in the afternoon, but we'll keep things at noon for consistency's sake.
Nice. Tonight, Core will be a live watch-along / commentary of all things video game awards tonight, because it lands on the same time we record. Cool. So video game awards tonight, all of us talking there. We're going to come in a half hour early and just do some pre-show discussion. So check us out at 5 p.m. That's tonight. Normally the show's at 4. But we're doing it at 5 tonight, so check it out.
Live.
And I think the actual awards start at 5, right at 5:30. So
cool,
little half-hour pre-show. Play Retro also on Friday, along with our couch party for patrons of this show. And if you want to be a part of that, just hop in the Discord and check out the details. We'd love to have you in there as we continue to watch What If.
What If? Yeah, we get Killmonger and Thor in our episodes tomorrow. They're
exciting.
The subjects of our episodes.
Did Michael B. Jordan voice Killmonger?
Believe he did. Believe he came back for that one.
That's good. I think you're right about there's something in their contracts where it's like,
I think so. It's like you sign your life away.
Yeah.
Unless you're Jonathan Majors and they're like, maybe we don't need King for our King Dynasty movie.
Yeah, how's that going? Has any of that come anywhere?
I think the trial started yesterday, if I remember correctly.
Oh, it went to full-on trial? Holy shit.
I think they're in the thick of it, yeah.
Damn. Well,
yep.
Kang the not-so-much conqueror. Anyway, Play Retro later that day, 2:30 Mountain on Friday. Film Sack on the weekend. We're going to be doing...
Film Sack, the 3 Days of the Condor, which I watched last night.
Oh, right. Old movie.
Robert Redford, Faye Dunaway, and Max von Sydow.
Yeah, and Sydow
Merciless.
He's looking actually decent and not 1,000 years old like he did in
Flash Gordon.
No, the possession thing.
The
Exorcist.
Exorcist. Yeah.
Because they put so much.
No, he still
makeup
looks
on
old
him.
in this.
Does he still look old? Okay.
Still looks old. Yeah.
Just young and old at the same time. That guy's weird.
That's right. Exactly.
Anyway, that's this weekend. Also, a skim later today. So all kinds of content. Get it in your system. Slosh it around.
One more thing. Guess the connection tomorrow morning at 9:00. So an hour before couch party, you can come win prizes that I ship out to you if you live in the U.S. That is, at twitch.tv/coverall for that too.
Nice. Let's get out of here on a song, a happy song note. Do you have one to play?
A happy song note. Yes, I do have one. And another one that I'm just super excited to play for somebody here. And that person is our resident TikTok comedian extraordinaire. Shoujo says, "Good morning, buttholes. My birthday is actually on Friday the 8th, but 'tis the season for a Christmas cover request from me. Please play a cover of Santa Baby and repeat this public service announcement if you don't mind. Do not combine Christmas presents and December birthday presents into one. Thank you. Love and hugs to you both." Signed, Shoujo. Well, happy early birthday, Shoujo. We absolutely love you and look forward every year to getting to see you.
Yep.
This is a cover of Santa Baby. One that I think kind of turns it on its ear because it's not by Eartha Kitt or Madonna or any of these people. It's by the band Everclear. Yes, they included this on the 2007 compilation Alternative Rock Christmas. So listen to the boys of Everclear sing Santa Baby.
Oh, man, I did not see this coming. But here we go. Enjoy this song, this version of it, and we will be back Monday with normal stuff. And all this other stuff we mentioned. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Get more at frogpants.com.
Email or Instagram.
Oh, all right.
That's